Hey folks, Dwayne from Grandpa's Garage, the little garage that could. This is a part two of the um, trunk construction, or trunk lid construction I should say. Thanks for coming back, and hope that this video is something that is of value or entertaining or whatever. Um, I was working here a little bit after I videoed last, and I kind of decided to maybe look at taking things a slightly different route from what I had originally planned. Still have the drawing up on the chalkboard there that was the original plan. Um, I was looking a little closer at um, the inner structure from the original trunk lid, and I'm pretty sure that I can make that actually work for me. It'll just mean configuring things slightly different, which I'm okay with. That's not a huge deal. Um, what I'll do is I'll take the camera off the stand and I'll bring you in and I'll show you what I'm thinking. I'm going to try it and we'll see, if I can get things kind of together and tacked in place, and if it's something that I think will work. Again, strength is going to be, and in particular lateral strength on this thing is going to be a very important piece, and it's got to sit down where it needs to sit down. I did some work on the lower pan here, but I'll show you that when I take the camera off the stand. And yeah, let me do that right now, and then that's probably easier for explaining things. Hang on. Sorry about the little shuffle there. Grandpa's a little tired today, but that's okay. Anyways, you can see here now what I've done is I've cut a section from the lower pan from the original inner trunk structure. I've clamped one of the support ribs across there. Now, the nice thing about it is that it fits the opening perfectly. There was just a tiny bit of grinding that I had to do in order to make that fit. I had to do a little bit of straightening on the piece, and once I did that, lined it up, it basically dropped right into place. So now then the next thing that I'm looking at, like I got the pre-bent rib, because again we got to carry that contour, clamped it to the top of that, and what I did was at the point where this rib or inner brace is right just before the inner structure, the original inner structure, started reverse curving and going up. So it's kind of like a perfect solution for that. Now, the thing that I'll probably be looking at doing though is wanting to get this in there, get an idea where it's all going to sit and fit. Probably what I'll do is, hang on a moment to get me something here to poke or point with, sorry. Okay, so now down in this area here, this member goes across and goes tight into the inner structure. What I'm thinking about doing is actually cutting it back and running the side support through, which will mean a little bit of reshaping on that side support, but then we'll get a nice solid union between the inner structure and the side rail. Then this piece will tie into the side rail. And again, same on both sides. That'll bring us up to the top. And what I am experimenting with right now, and I'm fairly certain it'll be the direction we go, because I think this idea is going to work really well. So I come back over here, and what I did is I cut what was the original upper section for the inner structure and figured out where it would fit best, and also have the inner support member as well on there. So you can see here, this is where originally there was a hinge mount there, and it had been chopped out of there. So I'm just in the process of repairing that. So we'll do that. So then it'll end up looking exactly like the other side. And on the back side of it, we'll have to add a little extra material, like some probably about 1/4 inch flat stock that we can thread the holes for the hinge mounting. And so then again, this will go up on the upper section of the trunk. We'll tie in the side rails. It'll come on the underside of this, but in this area here, we'll bring it up as high as I can get it, and then do some plug welding and just butt weld on there. And then again, the cross support will come under this piece and tie right into that. And I think this is going to put us in a really good design. It'll be nice and solid. Now, the only thing that is a little bit of an issue, we'll tilt this up here a bit. You can see here that the original upper lip of this structure has got quite a curve to it. And when we come back over here, it does not have quite a curve to it. So we'll grab this rod, I guess, and we can see, maybe not. Okay, try again. That didn't work. But anyways, yes, and so that arc is a little too strong for what we're doing. So likely what I'll end up doing is cutting along this line here and splitting it and dropping it in until it lines up with the upper lip. We'll get as perfect alignment as we possibly can. It's a little extra welding in that, and originally I had thought of using the square tubing, an 1/8 inch plate and all that, and you know, I looked at this and I just seen how that fits inside the opening, which I'll show you here. So that piece literally drops right into that opening. I don't have to worry about fabricating a radius corner on either end. And then what will happen is that piece will come, where are we here? Roughly to about there. And from that point, along here, we'll have the square tubing going down. And it'll just be a nice tie-in. I think it'll function really well. It'll be very strong. Yeah, it was just kind of a rethink on things. You know, sometimes these little projects, they start in one direction and then they definitely take a whole different direction. And yeah, again, like to try and make use of what was original to this, and in particular, like this lower section where it has the latching set up and that on it. I think when everything is done and tied in together, it's going to work really well. We can have our skin on there, and yeah, like I say, plans change, right? So you got to go in one direction. You got to keep your mind open to changes for stuff like this. So maybe what I'll do for now is I was just about to get set up for tacking this piece in here. We'll get that all tacked in and welded in, and then we'll check fitment on the car again. We'll figure out where I got to cut it, and then we'll cut and shift things on that arc that's there, so we can get that laying down nicely. Wanted to maintain the line on here, because what that does is that affects your hinges. These got to fit flat for that hinge to work properly. So we want to maintain that, and that's why we're going to cut and move the arc itself rather than doing it differently. So, but anyways, we'll get you back up on the stand here, and I'll start doing some tacks on that piece. Now, okay. That looks like that should be okay. Hopefully so. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put the exhaust fan on again. The welding creates a certain amount of fumes, and I don't need any of those fumes getting into my lungs. Now, I wanted to show you folks something here that I just picked up, and that's this little light that one of the problems I have in welding in different areas is that it's hard to see exactly where you're starting your weld. A little bit tight, so I heard about these little lights, and I try and do it. It's really bright. Hope you could tell that. So it's got the two settings on it, and it's a rechargeable light, which will be great. Where I'm going to be welding right now, I don't really need the light, but just thought as an idea for any of you folks that are doing welding and you have a hard time seeing where you're putting your first weld, then these lights are really cheap. I think this one was like about 20 bucks. So for me, that'll be worth the $20 all day long. But all right, let's get started on some welding here. probably going to reposition myself here a little bit. This foot. So if you folks want to be able to see a little bit better, I'm realizing I have my vacuum most of the time. I'll try this and do this in a fashion that you can see a little more. Now that we got this tacked in there, hang on a second here. Okay. Alright. Gotta take that thing off. Oh. Okay, so now what I got to do here is actually take, I'll show you, you can see here, right in this area here, and right over here, there's two reinforcing ribs, and the one where I had to cut the patch happened to be right dead center of it. So I got to kind of hammer it into alignment. So we'll just do that and then we'll get back on the welding. There, I think we're kind of reasonably close. Yeah, I noticed my one gap there is a little bit larger, so I'm going to grab a piece of welding rod here. Find the odd time if the gap's just a little bit big, then it's hard to weld. So if you take a piece of thin rod, it's actually TIG welding rod. It'll help close up that gap and it makes the weld a lot easier to do. Light. Oh, well. as per usual, this piece, it's got a lot of shape into it. It's not as critical for warping, but I'm still going to do it in the same technique as I always do, just because I figure just stay in the habit and it's easier in the long run. Alright, let's put some more down here. All right. All right, we're gonna let that cool down, and once I've got that all done and all welded and ground, and there's a couple little areas on here that I need to just do a little bit of metal work, reshaping a little bit. I'll do the cut for the arc so I can move that. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this video here and bring it back when I'm back into it a little bit more. Otherwise I'm just babbling for the sake of filling time. But anyways, for Grandpa's Garage, the little garage that could, I'm Dwayne, and thanks for stopping by and watching my nonsense here. Like, share, and subscribe, and I hope that this was mildly entertaining or helpful. I probably want to think a little bit more about the next video that I do in content. Probably once I've kind of worked a little bit more on this piece, I'll bring it back and I could show you what I did. And then once I start actually setting some of the internal structure ribs that I rolled yesterday, then once I start putting that in, it'll start looking like something and it'll make more sense. But for now, it's just yeah, I don't know. I don't think it'd be very super entertaining, but yeah. Anyways, Dwayne from Grandpa's Garage, a little garage that could, saying we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.